Kara had just discovered the identity of her biological father, a week before giving birth to her son, Jayce. 27 years of living without a father, and now she was about to face the same issue. Kara had been meditating all night, her mind restless with anxiety about the paternity issue surrounding her 3-month-old son. She had single-handedly raised her 5-year-old daughter, Claire, and that alone had been a daunting task. As she stood up, with her hands on her waist, Kara felt a wave of regret wash over her. She had alleged that a man named Ross was the father of her child. Ross and Kara had been in a casual relationship, a friends with benefits arrangement, where they satisfied their sexual urges. However, Ross had wanted a more serious relationship, but Kara had clearly told him no. The day of the court hearing arrived, and Kara couldn't sleep the night before. Her mind was filled with anticipation and fear about the outcome. Determined to know what the fate of her son would be, she took a shower and prepared for court. In the courtroom, the judge, an aged woman with dark skin and a stern expression, walked in and took her seat. She opened the case file and began, "Kara, you opened this case file because Ross is denying paternity of your 3-month-old son, Jayce, and you recently met your biological father for the first time, stating that you refused to let your son grow up without a father, like you did. Ross, you said Kara is pinning her child on you because you have money, and you're in court to prove that you're not the child's father." The judge took a deep breath and asked Kara, "How does it feel to raise your child alone?" Kara's voice trembled as she replied, "It's been difficult, Your Honor." "Not easy at all," Ross interrupted. "Your Honor, we used protection every time we made out." The judge's expression turned skeptical. "Kara, we can see he is denying your child now, but we will get to the bottom of this today." The judge turned to Ross and asked, "Tell me about your relationship with Kara." Ross exhaled and began, "I met Kara at a gas station, and I saw she had a child. So, I allowed her to get some gas first so her baby wouldn't get cold. Then, I collected her number before she left. The next day, I texted her good morning, and she replied back. After a few conversations, she asked if I could come over, and I said yes." The judge raised an eyebrow. "You all just met at a gas station, and the next day, you were in bed together." Ross giggled and replied, "Yes, Your Honor." The judge pressed on, "So, how did this last?" "It lasted for 2 weeks, Your Honor," Ross replied. "I asked her for a relationship, and she said she wasn't ready for it, that she was still mingling with other guys." The judge turned to Kara and asked, "Why did you say so?" "I was just coming out of a toxic relationship, and wouldn't want to rush into another," Kara replied. The judge nodded understandingly. "And when did you find out you were pregnant?" "I was at my friend's place, and I told her my body system had changed," Kara replied. "After I did a pregnancy test, and found out I was pregnant. When I asked the doctor the window date of my conception, he said between 6-9, and I met Ross on the 7th and had sex on the 8th. The judge inquired further, "When you found out you were pregnant, did you tell Ross?" Ross interrupted, "She sent me the pregnancy test results, and later said it wasn't meant for me, that it was a mistake." The judge's expression turned stern. "Kara, why did you do so?" "I thought it was the guy I met before Ross," Kara replied, tears welling up in her eyes. "But after we did the DNA test, I knew it would be Ross." The judge asked Kara, "Are you sure you weren't seeing other men while you were with Ross?" "No, Your Honor," Kara replied. "It was just Ross I was with as at the time of conception." The judge took a deep breath and said, "Kara, you can't send a man a pregnancy test, and later say, 'Oops, it's not yours,' then come back to tell him it's his child. You must understand that." The judge turned to Ross and asked, "Have you gotten anything for the child since he was born?" "No, Your Honor," Ross replied. "I can't buy anything for a child I know isn't mine." The judge nodded and asked Kara, "Kara, Ross hasn't come to see the baby since he was born?" "Yes, Your Honor," Kara replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have been taking care of the baby by myself." The judge's expression softened slightly as she asked Kara, "Kara, you say you grew up without a father, and how is that like for you?" "It was difficult," Kara replied, her voice cracking. "I tried looking for him, and at some point gave up, but he came looking for me, and that's what I don't want for my son. I don't want him to grow up thinking his father never cared. It's not a good feeling to have one parent and not the other." The judge nodded sympathetically and asked, "So, you feel Ross is just trying to avoid his responsibilities?" "Obviously, Your Honor," Kara replied, her voice firm. "I think that's what he's trying to do." The judge took a deep breath and announced, "I think it's time for the result." She called for the clerk to bring the DNA result. The clerk walked up to the judge and handed over the result in a sealed envelope. The judge took the results and read them out loud. "In the case of Kara and Ross for the paternity of 3-month-old Jayce, it has been determined by this court that Ross, you are." The judge paused for a moment, then continued, the father. Kara's face lit up with a mix of relief and joy as she heard the result. Ross looked apologetic, realizing he had tried to deny his responsibilities. The judge hit her gavel, and the courtroom erupted into a mixture of emotions. Kara smiled through tears, holding on to the hope that her son would have a better life with a father by his side. Ross looked regretful but determined to make things right. Ross, you can apologize to Kara and make arrangements for Jayce's care, the judge said. Ross nodded, looking determined. I'm sorry, Kara. I want to be there for Jayce. Can we work something out? Kara looked at Ross, searching for sincerity. She saw a glimmer of hope and nodded slowly. Let's talk about it. The courtroom slowly emptied, with Kara and Ross beginning a new chapter in their lives.